What exactly is mindfulness? Mindfulness is not just a way of thinking about your state of mind. It can also be used in a form of meditation. Using mindfulness meditations like the one that we have made will allow you to focus on the moment, becoming aware of all your senses and what you feel right in the moment. When you're able to just focus on a particular moment in life, there is no need to try and interpret anything or make judgments about how you feel right then. You are simply present in the moment. If you've ever studied anyone like Eckhart Tolle or any of the other spiritual teachers, you will come to realize that being present in the moment is all that actually exists for us as human beings. The past no longer exists, and the future has not yet come to you. So, focusing, being mindful of the moment can help you relax, eliminate any stress that could actually in the end ruin your health. Think about all the time that we spend planning for stupid things or worrying about the future. Thinking all the negative thoughts about the past, worrying about all the things that we need to do, like pick up the kids from school, make dinner tonight, pay the bills. All those things are soul draining and can be even exhausting. When you're able to be mindful, you are able to put those things away and focus your attention on the present moment, which reduces your stress and anxiety. Mindfulness meditations can be very powerful.
No matter what your life circumstances are, the message is wake up. Inside, I experienced increasingly periods of terrible anxiety and depression. It was an inability to stop my mind. My mind was continuously racing along and creating scenarios of where I failed, where I lost even the little that I had. It went a lot into the past too, where I felt ashamed about things that happened in the past. There was a deeper existential fear and an existential anguish that's hard to describe. It is a kind of alienation from the world. Strange and alien, you're disconnected from everything and everybody. And that is something that I believe many people these days suffer from. Translated as everything is so effing pointless. What's the point of it all? So to be deeply affected by the seeming meaninglessness of life around you. That night, I stood back from this narrative, which is fueled by continuous thinking. I stood back and I realized for the first time a dimension of consciousness within myself that was deeper, one could also say higher, depends how you want to look at it, deeper than thinking. It exists in every human being, but most humans are not aware of it at all. They don't know that there is a deeper dimension of consciousness in them. And that dimension transcends thinking. You experience it when the mind becomes still for a moment. This is what people want to achieve, for example, when they meditate. It can also happen to you when you're engaged in a dangerous activity like mountain climbing, then you cannot be involved in thinking. You have to, conceptual thinking stops, but you do not lose consciousness. That's also the essence, for example, of Zen, and I would suggest that it's actually the essence of all spirituality, is to find that state of consciousness in yourself where you can be alert and aware, but there's no conceptualization in your mind. It doesn't mean it stays like that for a long time. You then go back into thinking. But if you're able to access that dimension in yourself, you are no longer possessed by your thinking mind. You are no longer used by your thinking mind. You are actually able to use your mind instead of being used by your mind. As long as you're used by your mind, all your mental activity is a reflection of the conditioning that has happened to you.
Why should I meditate? That's probably what you're saying now. For years, I have learned and watched spiritual teachers and their students that have been practicing meditation and seen the superb benefits that come with it. Now, thanks to advances in modern science and medicine, there are actually many clinical trials that actually scientifically back up these claims for meditation, and the world is actually starting to really notice. It is amazing though that a concept that's been around for thousands of years, that people have actually known that meditation works, but there's always been a certain part of the population that needs to know how and why it's superb for the body, mind and soul before they actually believe it. There are so many studies now that provide truthful data as to how and why meditation and its effects on the body and brain are so good for you. Those studies are so diverse that they need to be in a separate video just on their own. But to say that the overall evidence of these studies show that meditation is effective for reducing stress, anxiety, pain, depression, and a whole host of other medical conditions or diseases. Here's some proof from Dr. Joe Dispenza.
I started becoming fascinated with the idea that you can give someone a sugar pill, a saline injection, or perform some false surgery or treatment, and a certain percentage of those people will accept, believe, and surrender to the thought that they're getting the actual substance or treatment. And they begin to program their autonomic nervous system to make the exact pharmacy of chemicals equal to the substance that they think they're taking. So then it begs the question, is it the inert placebo that's doing the healing, or is it the body's innate capacity to heal by thought alone? The doctor says, this is a great new drug that's going to help with depression, and the person begins to think about the idea that they could get better. They're selecting a new potential in the quantum field. And then all of a sudden, a certain percentage of those people will get enthusiastic and theos, filled with God, inspired, optimistic. They start changing their emotional state. They're combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion, and they're changing their state of being. And all of a sudden now, I began to realize, do you need the sugar pill? Do you need the saline injection? Or can you teach a person, instead of putting their faith and belief in something exogenous outside of them, that would do the healing, to change their state of being? Focus on an unknown and revisit that unknown every single day until it becomes a known. And all of a sudden, you'll see people's depression go away, their anxiety go away, and they're not using the placebo any longer. They're healing by changing their internal states. The person doesn't need the exogenous or external substance. They can move into a state of being without it.
When and how often should I meditate then? There is probably no such thing as too much meditation for people nowadays, especially if you're struggling with any of the issues that's been mentioned previously. Studies have shown that there are certain times of the day when meditation could be more effective for other people, than others. Those times are when the brain is emitting certain waves that enable it to be more receptive to suggestion and meditation. Usually in the morning, first thing, I find it to be the best time. You can use any time you want, but I usually find it best in the morning. Books have been written on the topic alone, but for our purposes, for most people, the time before you go to bed is usually the best time for them, or when you really, like I said, first thing in the morning. During those times, your brain is emitting the proper waves and producing the proper chemicals to allow the benefits from meditation. But as I said, Dr. Joe Dispenza says there is no such thing as a bad meditation.
So then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, a new life, you'd have to change your personality. We literally have to become someone else. In other words, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. So most people have experiences in their life that brand them emotionally. They feel fear, they feel anger, they feel bitterness, they feel frustration, they feel insecurity. And those emotions then become part of their identity. So once they think certain thoughts that turn on certain circuits in their brain that are equal to their insecurity, and then they feel insecure. The moment they feel insecure, they think more insecure thoughts, which makes more chemicals for them to feel insecure. And the repetition of that cycle over time conditions the body to subconsciously become the mind of insecurity. And whenever you say, I am anything, you're commanding your mind and body towards a destiny. If you're not being defined by the vision of the future, some new possibility in your life, you're only left with the old circuitry in your brain and the old emotions of the past. So the question then is, can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the experience has already occurred?
The best way to develop your mindfulness meditation routine is to practice, practice, practice. Do so, and you may be truly amazed with the results. Thank you very much for listening, guys. This is Mike Sherritt. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you do like it, please share it, please follow if you've not already, and like and comment if you do get anything from it. If you're already meditating, or if you're not already meditating and you want some advice. Namaste.